go check out the campsites. I always love checking out the view from your boat dock because it's gorgeous. But I am equally excited to scope out the best camping sites here at Southshore Campground. See if any of them are premium quality. Defining premium quality is right on the shoreline, easy access into the water with a kayak. And ideally even some privacy lines. Got some tent-only campsites where you park here, haul your gear down this path. Let's go check them out. I do kind of enjoy this style of camping sometimes. I'm of two minds of it because it's nice to just be able to park at your site and have all your stuff there, one-stop shopping mentality, but sometimes it can be fun if the site is premium. We're here at Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake, spot 5, hike-in camping spot. You've got a designated parking spot for your vehicle. You have to haul your stuff over to your site, not adjacent to your parking. And you do have pretty good access to the shore. That's a plus. Interesting. However, I would also say a lot of people probably be day using straight ahead. Straight ahead is where the boat dock is. So you're going to have a fair number of people in your line of sight. Continue along the path to the tent-only campsites. Now this one looks a little bit more like it. It's confusing. There's all these picnic tables. What is what? Looks like a 6 to me. You tell me, is that a 6? We're here at Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. Tent-only hike-in campsite, spot number 6. If I'm reading that pillar correctly, let's go take a look. So you park in your parking spot and have to haul your gear like 100 feet, give or take. Don't quote me on that, I wasn't really counting it, but do have pretty premium access to Detroit Lake. Nice little swimming hole. Here is your fire pit. Pretty cool spot. I will say though, look up here, you got some neighbors. Maybe better for a group situation or if you aren't too worried about privacy. So premium lake access, shoreline access, just right off your picnic table. Little path here. That could be viewed as good or bad. It's good for the access, maybe bad. You'll probably have some day use area people there. So if you are privacy focused, I do not think this is a good site for you. A, with the day use area, B, with people right behind you. We're here at Southshore Campground here at Detroit Lake. This is tent-only hike-in camping. Spot 7 appears from this post. Let's take a look. Thinking, is this a double site? Obviously got 2 picnic tables with the fire pit in the middle. Now this is premium lake access, Detroit Lake. Pretty impressive. Probably the downside is because of the premium lake access, you'll get a lot of day use people down on the shore right in front of you, so you're not gonna have privacy throughout the day. You'll have a lot of people kind of around your camp. Also look over here. That is a spot right next to you, I believe spot 6. So hopefully you like making friends. Here's your tent pad, so that's impressive. A lot of these places don't have tent pads, so I'm impressed by the tent pad. It's got a great tent pad. You can zip up in the morning and look out and see the beautiful Detroit Lake. But you do have a neighbor, a camping neighbor, and a lot of day use people on the picnic on the shoreline. So a day use picnic area. So if you want to do a group thing though and grab 6 and 7, then that might be the way to go. Oh, this is so beautiful. Don't see a post. I think I missed it. This looks like a little camping spot. Now this, my friend, is gorgeous. You've got a fire ring right there. Got a little private viewing deck for safety, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. So here you've got a tent pad, picnic table, fire pit, kind of a central big one. Doesn't have immediate lake access, but does kind of have like a eagle's eye viewpoint at the top of the whole area. Spot 12. Here's where you park. Down here is your campsite. You can see proximity to the lake, Detroit Lake. Not immediate access, but some good privacy. There's your water right there. There's spot 13, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. Park here. A little bit of a slope. If you have unsure footing, this might not be the one for you. You've got a little picnic table down there, a little fire pit. Not immediate lake access, but good, decent privacy. But the bathroom's right behind you too, which is nice. But that is, because of that slope, not recommend somebody who's not sure-footed taking that one, because you go up and down that multiple times throughout a trip, and likelihood of you taking a tumble increases exponentially. Hit 14, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. Got your parking here, your posts, and got your picnic table and your fire pit. You could see 13's over there, so you lose a little bit of privacy and you don't really have lake access. Definitely not a premium site, serviceable. I don't think there's a bad site here, realistically, but some are better than others. That is, and here's number 16, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. Park here after the posts. Pretty even footing. If you got difficulty with walking, this might be a great one for you. It's particularly flat. Got your picnic table, your fire pit. Good lake views, not direct access, but an overlook. Bear in mind there's one right next to you here, so privacy is a key concern. Might be a deal breaker. And if you want to book both of them and have multiple parties camp together, then you have an ideal circumstance. So it's all relative. One in the middle there is 15. I'm not even gonna do it because it's not good. So here's 17 I was just referencing. This is spot 17, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. And pull up your car here. Got your picnic table, your fire pit. Looks like there's a little bit of a path down to the lake, so pretty good lakeshore access. It's a pretty good site. Probably the only drawback is you do have spot 16 right next to you, so not great privacy. If you book them both together as a group situation, then you're in business optimally as far as the privacy aspect. It's May 20th, 2023. It's the week before this opens, Memorial Day, so this is still a bit disheveled because it hasn't been cleared by Forestry Service yet. There's spot 18 in the middle. I'm not going to do the middle ones. They're not good. To me, I would only ever do a middle one if I was desperate to get somewhere, but I wouldn't intentionally book a middle one because you're kind of got the worst of both worlds. Spot 19, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. Pull your car up here, walk down these steps, and look at that. You got your picnic table, you got your fire pit. It looks like there might be down there a little bit of shoreline access. Doesn't look perfectly smooth, a little bit of an angle, so that could be an issue if you're not sure-footed. You do have a beautiful view of Detroit Lake. Got spot 17 kind of over there. You've got somewhat tree blockage. Probably isn't an issue. It's not like private, but minorly to moderately private. Good work. And this next one, she looks pretty exposed as far as the lot lines, we'll say. Spot 20, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. Here's your picnic table and your fire pit. Definitely is a little bit of a slope, so if you're not sure if that could be an issue. Good views of the lake. You do have a spot right next to you that kind of overlooks you, so privacy is a major concern. That could be a deal breaker for spot 20. Again, the middle one's no bueno in my humble opinion. Spot 21, there it is. It's like a doubler, but you're on the inside, so you don't even have the views. Spot 22, this one's a little higher up. In a way, because the lot lines is kind of a good thing. Kind of have access to your own little back forest area here. So I'd say spot 22 is actually a pretty good one. So you got your picnic table, your fire pit, very flat if footing's an issue. Got a little bit of your own private forest behind you. Does not look like you really have access to the lake. That looks pretty steep to get down there. You do have a spot next to you, 20, that you overlook. So it's not perfect privacy line. I like this one better than 20. 22 better than 20, but still not your ideal creme de la creme dream camping spot by any measure, but decently high quality, I'd say. It's tough when it comes to camping because, you can look for the Captain Ahab situation, perfect is the enemy of the good, but still trying to look for really premium camping. I've never been the biggest fan of these side ones they throw in. Spot 23. So here it is right here. It's just like feels like it's right on the edge of the road. So it doesn't have that indented, there you go, feel. So pretty darn exposed. Also with the road right here, you're right in the line of sight of anybody driving up and down it. So 23, the one to my right, it's got that same problem that the inner ones do. I would not take that one personally. A lot of different ways to look at it, right? I mean, it's fun to go camping. So on one level, you can just say, I'm happy to get any one of them. But if you're really trying to get the creme de la creme, like the perfect spot, some people enjoy that, other people don't. So obviously it's subjective. Here's spot 24. Also, this is interesting. I'm liking spot 24. You have a long driveway, essentially. Park your car here. Then you walk up this. A little bit of an incline, but not crazy steep. Here's your fire pit and your picnic table. Spot 24 is actually pretty good. Because of the nature of it, you kind of have privacy from that other roundabout of camping spots. And come up here. And okay, I might have spoke a little too soon. There's another camping spot up here. So there's your 24, still pretty good. Here's, I'm guessing, probably 25 or 26. I'll go back down this one. So this upper area is not your private dominion, but still pretty decent one. I would not try to actually like down here. That looks dangerously steep. Oh yeah, that would be a fall and moderate to serious injury. Depth, distance down, you'd fall 20 feet or so, maybe more. I'm gonna go down this one to this particular site in reverse order because I'm feeling crazy. And this is either 25 or 26. I'm guessing 25. We'll see. Yep, 25. You never know if they have one across the way. They snuck in, throw off the numbering. Let's see here. It's 26. I would say this is a pretty good campground, Southshore Detroit Lake. I haven't found like a dream spot yet, keeping it real, but they're all like, in my mind, I don't really rate them, but just for frame of reference, like these are all like B+ sites. Like high quality, you could feel good about camping here. These are good spots. I haven't found like I keep my own master list of premium camp sites that I've observed over the years at a myriad of campgrounds across the United States that I think are the best campsites in the country. But it's kind of a labor of love, long-term project. I haven't found one of those here yet. Be added to the master list, but it's very serviceable. Some campgrounds you go to and you're just like, oh, this is awful. They're right on top of each other, no views, and feel like you're just camping in the dirt, I call it at that point. I don't see the point. But these are not that. These are pretty high quality, 27. Particularly the lake views, look at that. So this is a pretty good one. So kind of funny, every time I find one that I'm starting to get pretty excited about, like this, look at this. It always is stacked up with another one. See, this is 28. So you're right on top of each other. Again, if you're in a group situation where you can book two sites, like 27, 28, I gotta confirm that other one's 28, would be outstanding together. Then you do have privacy, but if you're just a couple or something, then you got people right next to you. So that could be a deal breaker. I guess it all depends on how big your party is and how much you care about privacy and yada yada, but there's been several of these scenarios, maybe I should be framing it a little bit better that way, that if you book both of them, you are just gold. Like if you get 27 and 28 together, I'd say you got a pretty good setup. You do have 29, looks like a doubler over here, so a little bit of loss of privacy just because of 29, but still you get 27, 28 together and you're, I think, gonna be happy. So here's 29, Southshore Campground, Detroit Lake. It's a doubler. Park your car here. Got two picnic tables and a fire pit. Looks like there's also a trail down to South Shore day use area, the beach, Detroit Lake. And is that it? There might be a few more. So we loop around. Again, this is May 20th, 2023. Week before this opens, week before Memorial Day. I'm not really sure I understand how they decide what opens and what doesn't. So I'm driving around Detroit Lake and most of the campgrounds were open and full. And this was the first one I found that was not open. So surmising it opens when most do next week. Spot 30. So this one is interesting. Plus is this is very private. Oh yeah, this is a great, so South Shore Campground, Detroit Lake, spot 30. Great for the privacy. You're the only one over here. You got thick vegetation between you and 29 and quite a distance. So if you're looking for privacy, 30 is great as far as lot lines. However, the highway is right above you. You do lose a little bit of the peace and quiet of the forest, and you don't really have like a lake view of any sort. So everything's trade-offs in life. Camping is like buying real estate, picking out the site at the campgrounds you want to stay at. So spot 30 is a conundrum. It's interesting. Great privacy, no views of the lake, and you're right below the highway. So if you are all about privacy and you're like, I'm gonna go, hang out by the lake all day anyway and fish, I don't really need to see the lake where I sleep, 30 could actually be a pretty money spot. That was money, not muddy. So yeah, it's funny how people look at it differently, because some people want like a dream spot, and I confess I'm guilty of that. They want to open up their tent in the morning and get a majestic shot of the lake or the mountain or wherever you happen to be, the river. Other people less picky on the aesthetics, and they just want 3 squares in a bed type situation. And to each his own or her own. All right, so I think we have completed South Shore. It is not a large campground. I would say if you come to South Shore, money, incredible boat launch, really high quality, beautiful views in every direction. Boat launch, spectacular, okay? Then you have a tent-only hike-in camping section where you park in a bay of parking spots and walk 50, 100 feet, whatever it is, with all your gear. Those were interesting. Because they're right next to the day use area, the shoreline, you're probably not gonna have a lot of privacy, but at night you'll have good views of the lake. Maybe the moonlight glistening off it. So those are a mixed bag. And then you come down to this loop where it's classic car camping. Several above quality sites, I'd say. None that jumped out as a dream site to me. I'll have to go back and review to figure out which one I'd actually even recommend, because I wasn't keeping a running tally of my top 3 or anything, but none of them jumped out as like a dream spot, keeping it real. But all like very serviceable, high quality. Certainly not a junk campground. I would not diss on Southshore Campground. It's a premium campground. It's high quality. So most of the sites you're going to be happy with, I'd say. If you pick Southshore and pick one of these sites, particularly a lake-facing one, I'd say, over the internal ones, then I think you'll have a good experience and you'll be happy. There's 32. So I'm less excited about the inside ones that are on the opposite end of the lake. So that is Southshore Campground. I did drive all the way around Detroit Lake and stopped at all the day use areas and most of the campgrounds. I was actually thrown off a little bit because my own, I guess, poor research on the front end. I assumed that these were all open Memorial Day, which is next weekend, because I live in Central Oregon, and most of the campgrounds that are going to be opening are all opening in Mount Hood area. Timothy Lake normally opens Memorial Day. If you go to Recreation.gov and look up most campgrounds, like 90% of them are Memorial Day to Labor Day, kind of the traditional camping season. So I was going through the area, I just assumed that these were all going to be Memorial Day opening campgrounds. And it looks like the only one that is a Memorial Day opening is the one I'm in right now that I was able to walk, just Southshore Campground. Much to my surprise, all of the other ones were full and actually at or near occupancy. So clearly a lot of demand for camping, which I appreciate because I love camping. So because of that, I wasn't able to hop out, and last thing I'm going to do is not show respect for people's campsites. So the second I see that a campground's occupied, there's a 0% chance I would even consider going and trying to look at the sites. That's not cool. I might drive by them and with my eyes just kind of scope out the lot lines, but I would never try to go like do a review of a camp site when it's occupied. That is totally inappropriate. Not how I roll.